This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, highlighting all of Section 3, interviewing the greatest local coaches and athletes. Brought to you by SummitCars.com, broadcasting in the ESPN studios. Here's your host, Mike Bristol, and Eagle Newspapers' Phil Blackwell.
All right, Phil, what's going on, pal? So a great week of high school sports action. We're going to get plenty of studio interviews, but what's been going on?
Oh, a lot been going on this week. Yeah. We have not just as the regular season beginning to wind down a little bit in football and boys and girls soccer and field hockey as those seasons start to wind down a little bit. But meanwhile, there was also the tennis sectional tournaments this weekend. What new things happened there? CBA knocking off FM in Class A in the semifinals and then being Baldwinsville for the title, while in Class B, Oneida avenged the regular season defeat to New Hartford in the B final, and in the C final, Skinny Atlas edged your alma mater, Marcellus, but it was a great run for both teams on that side. Skinny Atlas lost the final a year ago. This time they won it.
Nice.
So that happened. And then we got lots more to get to.
So we're going to kick things off with our SummitCars.com spotlight interview with members of the Central Squirrel Girls soccer team. And it's turning into an historic season for Central Squirrel Girls soccer. The Red Hawks have won 11 games in a row. They sit at 13-1 overall and number 7 in the state Class A rankings. By far, the team's signature win was knocking off a 10-time defending sectional champion Jamesville DeWitt 3-2 in an overtime on September 24th. So when you think about it, how much more could Central Square do? Well, we're going to have the Red Hawks here in studio. We've got the trio of captains, senior Allison Israel's on the program, Cora Kehane, and Emma Herman, all here in studio.
Well, I mean, Central Square, during the first part of the season, we were paying attention to the results and saying, okay, they're playing pretty well. But when you beat JD, you get people's attention because no one in Section 3 had beaten JD in the regular season in 2 years. And more importantly, they've followed it up. They haven't let down. They've won more in the interim. And they seem like a team that could knock off anybody in what should be a great Class A sectional tournament because you've got JD, Central Square, and New Hartford, all of them very good. And all of them, I mean, whoever has that top seed is going to really have an edge once the sectional tournament begins because they wouldn't have to beat the other two to get to the sectional title. So.
After that, we've got our Wegmans Winning Spotlight interview with members of the Liverpool football team. In 4 years after its last won the Section 3 Class AA title, the Liverpool football team is lined up to reclaim the throne, especially after taking defeats in the sectional semifinals in 2017 and 2018. And think about this, fueled by a strong defense, an innate ability to play its best late in the games. The Warriors have roared to a 6-0 start and the number 15 state ranking here, and having locked up the AA1 division regular season title. So the playoffs close at hand. Dave Mancuso here in studio. We've got Bryce Mills, Matt Mitchell, Kyle Cave, Christian Matthew, all in the studio.
Well, we knew Liverpool had a pretty good defense going into the season, but the real signature moment they had was shutting out CNS 10-0 in the second week after CNS had dominated them the last few years. Then they rolled through the league in the AA1, the key victory being the one against Corcoran last weekend when they were down 21-7 at halftime, but rallied to win 22-21. Again, a strong second half. Now, last night they changed things up and finally had a big first half on the way to beating Nottingham, but Liverpool will ride that defense all the way to the end. They figure that's the key to everything, and they're well-placed, positioned heading into the sectional tournament. They'll play Corning next week to finish the regular season.
All right. And then our Aflac Spotlight interview. We have the members of the Cicero North Syracuse boys volleyball team. And in recent years, CNS's boys volleyball team has entrenched itself atop the local large school ranks. Section 3 titles are an annual occurrence. The North Stars have also made State Division I Final Four appearances and have come awfully close to a state title. In 2019, CNS is sporting a 13-0 record. Already have won some tournament titles, too. 4 seniors on the team, Dan Seliger, Carter Wisely, Tim Levacey, and Jack McDonough. Their coach, Mike Lucia, all here in studio today.
This might be the CNS team that gets that state title. We'll see. But they have a balance up front. They have a tremendous junior setter in Brandon Milius as well. And when they've been pushed, they've pushed back, and they've faced some top teams. Beat a good Mid-Lakes team yesterday. They'll face a very tough, schedule. I think they face Penfield next week. That's an important test for them. So seeing as a shown match after match that they have the deep front line, tremendous setters and defense, it seems to be all in place. Can they just find the key to winning at the end? We'll see.
All right, kicking things off, a Central Square girls soccer team. Get ready for that next. Of course, this is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports presented by SummitCars.com.
This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, brought to you by SummitCars.com.
All right, here we are back in the studio. Mike Bristol and the great Phil Blackwell. It's great to be with you. Good Saturday morning. Our SummitCars.com spotlight interview, members of the Central Square girls soccer team. Girls, welcome to the studio. How are you? Say hi.
Hi.
Good job. Allison Isero. How are you, Allison?
I'm good.
Good to have you in here. Cora Cohane. How are you?
I'm good.
Did I get that right? Cohane?
Yep, that's right.
Emma, nice and close. Say hello to everybody in there. Come on, Cora. And then we got Emma Herman. Emma, how are you?
Great.
It's good to have you in studio. And then Coach Angelo Carosio. What's up, Coach?
Not much. How's it going?
Pretty good. So, Phil, you just walked in here. Phil said last year you guys were 12-5, so a pretty decent team last year.
Yeah. Girls, we got a lot of the same returners, and they work hard every day, and they work for everything they got.
Well, let's talk about it. So, Central Square girls soccer, the Red Hawks have won 11 games in a row. Phil and I just talked about this, 13-1 overall, number 7 in the state Class A rankings. Allison, let's go to you. Talk about this team. What a start. What a team.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've been on this team for 4 years, and it's just improving every year, and everyone works hard during practice. Everyone tries their best, and we're such a tight-knit team, so it's awesome that we're doing so good.
I love that. Our SummitCars.com spotlight interview, and real quick, Allison, let's go back to you for a second. What's been the biggest difference of such a great start and where you guys are right now?
The biggest difference is just how tight the girls are and how good friends we are, because if you're good friends, then you're just going to play well together.
Yeah, you guys have been doing well. Doing really well. Cora, let's go to you for a second. I guess let's talk about your expectations going into the season, and when did you realize that you guys could have a really, really good team?
During preseason, we all just worked really hard, and we really wanted to have a good season, so we worked hard all preseason, and then we started winning some games, and we realized that our team is good, and we're really close, and we all really want to go far, so we're working for it.
Emma, what are some of those things you girls did preseason or over the summer? Did you play leagues? What were you guys doing?
Yeah, we were in a summer league over the summer. Kind of short. It didn't last long, but it was just a chance for everyone to kind of get together, get some touches on the ball, and just kind of get acquainted with each other. We had practices, trainings that we did over the summer as well, just like another opportunity to just play. And then preseason, it was just like getting fit, getting used to being on the team together, and just kind of trying to form a bond with everyone. Central
Square girls soccer team. Coach, let's go to you here for a second. Central Square doesn't necessarily have a super reputation as a great soccer school. Talk about now what's happening there at Central Square, and obviously what the girls have done.
Well, I mean, it all starts with your players. If you have the players to do it, then you can do pretty much anything. These girls, they're willing to do anything. They come on Saturdays to train. They come in the off season to train. Over the summer in the Bevo League, they're committed to that. They play indoor, and they really enjoy being together, and I think that's the key.
Hey, Allison, let's talk about this. Now to the win over JD.
Yes. Oh.
So they beat you 5-2 September 7th. What changed? Talk about the game plan. Talk about the rematch.
Well, we had a nice speech before the game saying that we know we can do it. JD is a really good team, and we can play right with them. And it was just during our warm-up, you could sense the urgency and the excitement, and we all knew that we were ready and that we could take on JD.
Cora, talk about JD. What was the highlight for you? What was the biggest moment?
I mean, that team is amazing, and we just came out and we really wanted to fight hard and get a win, and just all the girls got touches, and everyone was an impact on that game. So just seeing everyone working so hard and everyone touching the ball and getting shots off, that was great.
Emma, what was the difference?
I think it kind of started with our first game against them. We basically stuck with JD the whole entire game, and that's like being able to stick with a team that's been state ranked for such a long time. I think it kind of gave us like a sense of like, yeah, we can beat them and stay with them. So I think it kind of started there, and then it just like transitioned into our second game against them. So we kind of had like the belief that we were going to be able to come out with a win.
Coach, talk about that game plan going in and what you told the girls.
Well, I mean, I think first of all, when you're talking about JD soccer, you're talking about the pinnacle of Class A soccer. I mean, they're outstanding. I've mentioned it before. That team, you watch that team, and they're like watching a college team. I mean, so what they have to do every single game is they're facing everybody's best every single time, and they rise up to the challenge every single time, and they're going to be there in the end. What it is, it's a mindset. I mean, that's what it is. Our program has a culture change, and the culture change is the mindset, and that includes any team that we play against. You can't make a mistake against JD. You just can't do it. You can't afford to do that, because if you make a mistake against JD, then they'll make you pay for it. And that's pretty much it. You stick with your players, you play hard, and you find feet, and that's our game plan.
All right, Phil, go ahead. Phil Blackwell from the Eagle Newspapers, of course.
I would say that you also got a tremendous performance from your defense in that game and your goalkeeper. I mean, how just their performance had to be first rate, even in the face of all that.
Absolutely. I mean, everybody plays a part of it, but I can't say enough about how our defense has been playing. They're fast, they're physical, and the main thing about our defense, and including everybody on our team, is confidence. You have to have confidence, and our defenders. All of our defenders either first year or second year defenders, and every game they get better. And again, it goes back to their mindset. They want to get better. They want to win, and they are. They're getting better every game that they play.
And who are those defenders? I want to give them some love, because defenders never get enough credit ever in this game, and it's true in a lot of sports, but in soccer as well. Who are some of those players? You mentioned that.
All right, we have for our left and right back, we have Evelyn and Ella Dolce. They're twins, and then our center backs, we have Bree Basile and Emma Dempsey.
Oh, great. And your goalkeeper too has to be, because I remember. I think, what was her name?
Sam Haley.
Sam Haley. She had, I think, 19 saves in that game. In particular, how did she manage to play so well that night?
She was just on her game. She was communicating to the defense, telling them where to go, who to mark. Every save was essential, and she made all the saves that she had to.
Now, to the other, I mean, you're the two who scored all the 3 goals in that particular game. What did you figure out? What worked on those scoring plays throughout the game and in the overtime?
Well, leading up to the game, we know that going outside really worked for us. So I was a left winger, and I just kind of ran the ball up the side, and I crossed it, and I shot a couple times, and then all the girls were really motivated, and so every time I crossed, everyone was crashing the goal. Everyone wanted it. So eventually that led to some goals.
Go ahead, Phil.
And Herman, I mean, you had the big one. I think you had the game winner in the overtime. Talk about that play in particular.
Well, I was kind of like at the top of the 18. Allison had the ball. She played it to me, and I turned, and I was able to get a shot off and hit it in the top left corner. But that wouldn't have happened if our team wasn't able to get the ball down the field and actually able to possess. So we all had a mindset leading up from the break before overtime. Just we want to win this, and every shot counts, every possession matters. So that was just really able to help us in the end.
I'm talking to Central Squirrel Girls soccer team. Phil, go ahead.
And here's the thing I remember. I mean, after that game, you had to have been just on a real high. How long were you on that kind of high of sorts after that game? And when did you get back to earth a little bit?
It took about a week to really digest what had happened, but because we beat such a good team. But we're back and we're ready to start playing.
At the same time, I got to say, you beat JD. That's a big deal. I mean, they're not a good team. They're not a good team. They're a great team. Yeah. But the mindset, they were pretty high after that win. But the very next day, they came back and they started working. So that's a key as well.
And you've had some tough games since then. I can remember the overtime game with ESM. How have you managed to improve even as much in the last couple of weeks as well, maintain the win streak after that game?
Everyone was so excited about the win, but we know that, okay, we won, let's put it aside and keep winning.
Oh, nice. All right, let's talk about sectionals coming up. Playoffs, Coach. What's the game plan? What are you telling the girls?
we're the same message. You got to come to practice. You have to work. And the main thing is staying healthy. And I think every team's got something. Yeah. I mean, every team at this point of the year has something going on with some sort of nagging injury or something. We're no different. I mean, the main idea here is to stay to game plan and to get healthy.
All right. Of course, makes a lot of sense. Girls, let's do some shout-outs. Allison, who do you want to give a shout-out to?
I'd like to give a shout-out to my twin sister who tore both her ACLs.
Oh.
Yeah, and couldn't play.
Different times or what?
Yeah, she tore her ACL junior year and then right before the season during a preseason game.
Did she get them both fixed?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Cora, go ahead.
I'd like to give a shout out to my mom, my dad, my sister, and my brother. They motivate me and they help me to be the soccer player I am today. So thank you.
Very nice. Emma.
I'd like to give a shout out to my entire family, even like my grandparents. Everyone's been so supportive of me the entire season, and just the team in general. So that's been really great.
Great. Coach?
I'll give a shout out to my wife, Nicole, and my 4-year-old daughter, Sophia. And going back to what Allison was saying about her sister, Kaylee is an awesome kid. I mean, she's part of our team. I mean, she is part of what we've been doing, and we miss her tremendously.
All right, thanks so much, ladies and gentlemen. Central Square Girls Soccer Team, give yourselves a big round of applause. Incredible job. My buddy Brian House out there with Raymore Chevy, so he's a good buddy of mine too. All right, we'll be right back. ESPN Radio 97.7, 100.1.
This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, brought to you by SummitCars.com.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, back on the program. Mike Bristol, the great Phil Blackwell. Exciting Saturday as we're talking now a little bit of football. Liverpool football team in studio, Section 3 Class A AA title here. The football team over at the pool had semifinals in 17 and 18, 2017, 2018, and fueled by a strong defense. And this team now 6-0 start, 15 in the state rankings. And the boys are here. Bryce Mills. What's up, Bryce Mills?
How you doing? Thank you for having us.
Good to have you in here. Max, what's going on?
Nothing much.
Good to have you in here. Kyle Cave. What's up, Kyle?
How are you?
And then Christian Matthew. Where's Christian Matthew?
What's up?
What's up? Nice and close to the microphone, Christian. And Kyle, you did a good job. No, Max, you did a good job. Kyle, redo yourself. Let's go say hello.
What's up?
There you go. That's much better. All right, let's get right to it. Bryce, let's go to you first. 6-0.
6-0.
Talk about it.
So I've been playing varsity for 3 years now. Started out my sophomore year, and we've never had a team like this that just bonds, gets together, and everybody plays for each other. So the fact that we're 6-0, it's amazing. And every kid, is playing for each other each and every game. And that's the motto we live by and we play by. So that's why I feel like we're having so much success.
Well, let's talk about that SummitCars.com Spotlight interview. And Bryce Mills, back to you for a second. Let's talk about 15 state ranking and locked up the AA division regular title. Let's talk about that.
I mean, that's amazing. We're blessed to have that spot. But, of course, we know that the season's not over yet. So 15 state ranking right now means nothing until, obviously, we go to states or we win sectionals. Because right now it's still the regular season. We still got one more week to go. So, obviously, we're blessed that they think high of us enough to put us up there, but it means nothing yet.
Very nice. I like how you just set the tone.
That's right.
Max, let's talk about it. Look at this team. Playoffs close at hand. Talk about getting ready for the playoffs.
Oh, we're just going to do what we've been doing all year, just getting better every single day, every single week. We take from what we did in the game, and then the next week we just perfect it. And we're going to keep doing that until by the time, hopefully, when we get to the Dome, we're going to be on all cylinders going. So,
Kyle, what needs to improve right now, do you think?
What needs to improve is just because everybody talks about our defense and all this and all that, but our offense, we in practice and we show glimpses in the game where we just are phenomenal. So we just got to continue growing on that and prove people wrong, which we all know we can do.
Nice. Christian, let's go to you. Talk about the offense and what can this offense do here at Liverpool.
The offense, I don't even think you guys have seen half of what we can do yet. It's just crazy.
So give me some examples, like throwing the ball. You guys can run the ball. Come on. Yeah. I want a little bit here.
I mean, everybody knows our running game is strong, but nobody really knows about our passing game.
Okay.
And
get ready.
Yeah, just get ready.
All right, let's go. Bryce, back to you for a second. Was it an instance, I guess, of all you getting the work literally the day after last year's sectional semifinal and the close call against West Genesee? Talk about that for a second.
Oh, of course. I mean, I know for the people that played last year on that Liverpool team, that West Genesee game was just, it was awful to see the seniors going down, and everybody was just out of it after the game, bawling their eyes out, and we didn't want to experience that same feeling after the game. So it was literally the day after, I'd say, that West Genesee game. Me, Vaco, I know Max, Christian, like everybody was just, they set that goal, and it was, there's no way we do this next year.
Yeah.
Like there's no way we go here, we go to the semifinals and we lose again. It was just, we didn't want to experience that same feeling.
Max, so talk about that too. It's just that you guys got everybody on board here.
Oh yeah. Last year I was just seeing all the senior, and I obviously I wasn't hit because I was a junior, but I was just watching. I was like, that has to be the worst feeling. Coming at that short, I'm like, that is not happening to us next year. Next year we're not coming up short.
Talk about Brendan here, the quarterback. Dave's son. Talk about his skills, I guess. Kyle, go to you. Talk about him for a second.
Yeah, Brendan's a great kid. He's a great athlete. I mean, obviously, this is his first year on varsity, but
does Dave favor him a lot?
Not too much. No, he's pretty hard on him, just like all of us. So that's what makes him good. That's what makes him better. And like Christian said, like he's got a pretty good arm, and we rest of the section hasn't really seen that yet, but just wait on it.
Maybe they'll start seeing. Christian, overall, how would you rank him as a quarterback?
As a quarterback, for his age, he's pretty good, and I can still see him improving every day, and we always push him to do that. When he makes mistakes, he takes ownership in that, and that's all we can really ask for from him.
That's good. Bryce, let's talk about you let's go to you here again for a second. You and Jacob Vaco. Is it Vaco? So you guys lead a remarkable group of linebackers. Talk about that and in-game stuff and the communication and what it means.
Well, we prepare for every single game, just constantly throughout the week. We
tons of
watch
game
a
film.
ton of film.
Okay.
We make sure we mimic like the offense, and we give a scout team offensive look during practice, and we have them mimic our opponent's offense to the best way possible, so that we can be ready for the game. And really, just every single kid going across from Darion Nixon to Malachi Upshur to Jake Vaco and to me, every single linebacker, I think we don't have a weak spot at that position at all. And no matter where people are running us, I feel like there's no weak spot to our defense, which is something we take much pride in.
Who's your favorite player, NFL player?
NFL player?
And do you mimic yourself after anybody?
I'd have to go with Amari Cooper.
Yeah,
I'm a Cowboys fan,
so that's why.
Amari Cooper stepped up big this season.
Nice, very good. Let's talk Kyle first, or Max. Let's go to you for a second. And when you look at your defense, how much fun, I guess, when you watch these guys, the unit, the going against the opponents. Talk about how this defense works.
Oh yeah, when we get out there, it's like we practice, and now it's time for this game. Everything we've been working for is just like the energy on the field is so fun, and like it's so intense. But at the same time, like we know what we're doing, and we know that like okay, we just got to do our job, and no one's gonna do anything against us.
In particular, there was that 10-0 shutout CNS, and let's talk about how satisfying it was. I think to blanket someone who beat you up so bad, the last 3 years. Christian, talk about that.
I haven't beat CNS one time since Modified. And just to
That's a long time.
And just to go out there that night and shut them out, actually, that just made
proved it all.
career. Yeah.
Kyle, how about you?
Well, it was actually my first year playing football, so Coach Ben.
What were you doing? Playing soccer?
No, I'm a basketball and lacrosse guy.
Hoop and lacrosse guy.
Yeah. So,
and you made the transition to football.
Yeah.
Your boys get you out. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
What position?
Receiver and DB.
So how you doing?
I'm doing great. I mean, back to the CNS part. That was just for them. I could see it in their eyes. They were so hungry for that game, and that just motivated me to hop on that train and just continue what they could, just follow their lead. So it was a great experience.
Okay, very good. Phil, go ahead. Phil Blackwell from the Eagle newspapers.
I tell you, one of the biggest assets of this team is that the way you've played in the second half of games. I think of the FM game in the Dome, also the comeback against Corcoran. What explains your ability to just physically take over games late?
Oh, yeah. I'd say it starts in the room. And we go through weight room circuit of where we have the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth quarter. And throughout each quarter, our weight room circuit gets harder and harder. And it's just the don't quit mentality we have on the team. It's just keep going strong. And we realize that when the game gets when everybody starts to get tired on the other team, we realize we're still fresh and we're ready to go. And we're not going to quit no matter what. We're going to stay in the game and come out on top.
And I also want to give them some particular love to the guys on the offensive and defensive lines, because obviously you and Bryson, you and Jacob obviously get a lot of attention on the linebacker spot, but the lines have been, that's how you can dominate games too. Who are some of those standouts on the line?
Oh, yeah. Well, our offensive and defensive line have really stepped up this year, and they kind of haven't really been appreciated as much as they should have. I'd say a couple standouts we have on defensive line include John Worthen, Josh Gatewood. We had Zach Lee, who went down. Unfortunately, he was a senior, got injured, but he's still with us on the team. And then we had on the offensive line, we got Ryan Saffiati, Nate Grazier, Nick Hall, who stepped up, Nick Reed. We have some great kids on both sides of the ball that have really stepped up this season.
All right, let's talk about Corcoran. 21-7 comeback win that game. Obviously explains your team playing its best during the second half. Bryce, talk about that and how the team's able to kind of come back and do your thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, the same thing I'd say in the weight room is we just, during halftime, we said, you know what? We were all comfortable with where we were at. We realized we were down, but we said, you know what? We're not going to quit, and we're going to make this game one that we're going to come out on top. And that was just because it started in the weight room in the offseason is when everybody else gets tired, we're not tired, and we realized that. And I was actually, I wouldn't say not nervous because, of course, no one likes to be down, but I was still pretty comfortable with where we were at.
Right.
And I kind of almost knew that we were going to come back out and perform in the second half.
Max, let's talk to you for a second. As young players, you guys saw the 2015 team nearly get to the Class AA finals. State finals, that's right. What did you learn from watching those guys, and were you guys like big fans of those guys?
Yeah, I definitely remember. I remember watching them. Yeah. And just all those kids. Like we had Darren, one of our linebackers. His older brother was on the team, Daryl Nixon, and then Jadakiss. All those kids, and it was just kind of like for them to fall short. It was kind of just like, wow, like it could happen to anyone. Yeah.
Almost there. What was it? 1?
It was 1 point. It's like a missed conversion.
Missed PAT.
Oh,
so for that to happen, it was just like, wow. So then when it's our time to come up and we're doing what we're doing so far, it's kind of just like we could be like one of the best teams out of Liverpool, and that's what we just keep striving for.
All right, Phil Black will jump back in again. Let's talk to Christian here. Actually, Christian, before Phil jumps in, were you able to watch that 2015 team? Who do you remember?
I do remember some of it. I didn't really go to the games like that, but I used to go with my friend Darion.
Yeah, and check out some of the stuff.
His brother was on the team. So just watching his brother, and his brother plays the same positions as me. So, like, just to see him go out there and, like, put on a show for everybody and just be the memorable team that they were, it was just amazing. And
gotcha.
That's what we strive for.
Phil, go ahead.
So now, as you go, and it's interesting because you don't have a league game next week. You finish with Corning in the regular season. Is there some degree of how important is it to maintain the intensity that you guys have, knowing that it doesn't really count for much? It's not going to change who you're going to face in the playoffs, but that you maintain the intensity and the momentum that you've had for the last couple of months.
Yeah, we're gonna come out. We're gonna do what we do. If we take it easy, that would be the worst thing we could probably do in this situation. We have everything going for us right now, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna prepare like we have, like it's a playoff game, and we're just gonna keep going, and hopefully we come out with the victory.
And I asked you about the lacrosse. I mean, you see, Nick came from lacrosse this season. What skills, what attitude carries over from lacrosse to football? And Brendan does too, by the way, too. So, Kyle, what would you say about those? What carries over in those two sports?
I mean, obviously lacrosse helps a lot in football, just like the footwork stuff and the physicality and all that. But just also the biggest thing I think is like the leadership part, because on lacrosse, that's one of my main sports. So like the leadership, like rolls over to football, and like obviously it's my first year playing, but like I can like here and there say some stuff that like, because I'm a senior also, so it can help over to football. So.
And obviously your ambition is a sectional title, But what will it take to go further than that? And maybe, as you talked about, reach that historic level and get further than that?
Well, it all goes back to what we do every single week. We prepare for every single game just like it's a state championship game. And having that mentality and not taking any games lightly is just something we pride ourselves on. And we've done it from the first game of the season all the way up throughout. And, of course, there's been times in games where we haven't performed to the best of our ability, but we realize that we can come back, keep a strong mindset, and come out on top in certain games. And just having that mindset and preparing for every single game, like it's the biggest game of your life, is what helps us go far.
And what would you say about that also, Christian? What would you think? What will it take to make them run out the state title?
I just think that we need to do what we are currently doing, and they stay focused every week. Yeah, stay focused every week. Our focus for the CNS week was incredible, and I just think that we need to be focused like that every week.
Yeah, I remember Mancuso, he was not here. He talked about to that game how you guys, for that game in particular, had the best week of practice ever, was his term. I remember him saying it. That's what he said. Wow. And it's like, it showed. I mean, even though you only had less than 200 yards of offense, you still dominated. I mean, you made some big sacks on Rozmalski a couple of times in that game when it was. So.
All right, let's go right around the board. Kyle, let's go. Let's do some shout-outs. Let me see that sheet here for a second. Let's go right around the board. Max, you first. Who do you want to give a shout-out to, pal? Come on, Max. Shout-outs. Let's go.
Shout-out. I'll give a shout-out to Coach DeLong.
Nice.
Coach DeLong.
Bryce, shout-out. What do you give a shout-out?
Shout-out to my boy Zach Lee, who can't play with us, but he's always with us on the field, too. He works harder than anybody in the whole entire Liverpool
All right.
team.
Kyle, how about you?
So shout out to my boy Jacob Vaco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Christian, how about you?
I give a shout out to my boy Darion.
Nice. And how about all your parents? Brothers and sisters. That might be a good
They're
one.
good, too.
First time we've done
They're good, too.
Never mentioned.
All right, guys, give yourselves a big round of applause. Liverpool football team.
Thank you.
ESPN Radio 97.7, 100.1.
This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, brought to you by SummitCars.com.
All right, here we are back on the program. Mike Bristol, the great Phil Blackwell, ESPN Radio. Thanks for joining us as we've got our last of our triple threat here today on the program. So, Phil, great job lining everything up. Our Aflac Insurance interview with members of Cicero North Syracuse boys volleyball team. Coach Mike Lucia is here. Coach, what's going on, pal? How are you?
Mike, good to see you again.
Good to see you, too.
It's been a few years, so we always appreciate the invite here. And I was listening last week. You had some great interviews there, and we appreciate everything you do for high school sports around here. You and Phil both.
Phil's the man. Phil's the one that should be in the Syracuse Hall of Fame.
No doubt.
I got to start getting that going. I have Phil's the guy. So, Coach, let's talk about the team. 13-0 record. Mm-hmm. Won some tournament titles too. 4 great seniors here. Let's talk about it. Go ahead.
All right. The season's gone, as the record would indicate, extremely well. We knew we had 8 guys coming back from the state championship run that we fell a little bit short last year, and there was quite a bit of hunger in the team to get back to Albany this year. In regards to these 4 guys right here, I think it's a perfect kind of cross-section of why the program's been so successful. To my right, Jack McDonough here was told a few years ago by his lacrosse coach, Billy Aldridge at the time, hey, you need to play other sports. So he decided to give it a shot and go out of his comfort zone, and he's been with us the last few years. To Jack's right also is a young man who emailed me last summer as a junior saying, hey, Coach, I've never played a sport before, but I want to be part of something. And it was one of those decisions where it's like, all right, yeah, come on out. And he knew he was going to have to play JV as a junior. And it's great to be able to incorporate someone who just wants to be a part of something special, do anything for the team. That's Tim Livesey. And to his right is one of those 3-sport athletes. I believe that Mike, you were talking about last week. The Cavs golf coach was talking about it. Chuck Banks was talking about it. Carter Wisely, who also plays hockey and baseball, and you need those guys. Mike, I know you're big on because you need to develop different muscles.
That's right, baby.
And I also think of it as they've been through Carter's been through more situations than everyone else in those sports, and I think it's important for him to be there to kind of be the leveler in the storm of sorts, because he's been in different situations on the ice and on the mound as a pitcher. And finally, you got Dan Seliger, who's that pure volleyball player who will play volleyball 24/7 if you ask him to, and is really dedicated to the sport, and that's why he's our leader in kills and aces. And he's the pure volleyball guy, and you need those guys to win championships also. So I think these four right here not only provides the leadership, but it kind of shows you why the program's been so successful, because we can take all four from all four different backgrounds and make it into success.
I love it. What a summary, Coach. Our SummitCars.com spotlight here. Dan, let's talk about some Mr. Volleyball. Talk about this team. 13-0, you got to be happy.
Yeah, very happy with the team this year. I know playing club with a lot of guys over the winter really paves the way for a good season. Really like every single guy on the team. Not a single guy has problems with anyone, I think.
It's good.
Builds really good chemistry.
It's good you don't not like somebody.
Yeah, team's got the best chemistry I've ever seen on any high school team, and I think that plays a big factor in us being 13-0.
Absolutely. Carter, let's talk to you here for a second. 13-0. You guys get together. What are some of the fun things you guys do besides volleyball, obviously?
We're all friends outside of sports.
Yep.
We're all hanging out in school, going to Tully's after games. We all like to be around each other, which helps us, really want to show up to practice, want to get better every day, and want to go back to where we were last year and go further.
Do you bring a different type of intensity to the team?
Yeah, I'm a very competitive person playing three sports. I'm probably one of the more competitive kids, not to put anyone else down, but I take
you get a little fired up.
Yeah, I get fired up when we don't do well, and I try to bring everyone to get to the level where we need to be in order to win games.
Very nice. Carter, let's go to you here for a second. Or Tim, right? Tim, let's go to you for a second. So talk about your story. Interesting story.
Well, I thought I really wanted to do a sport because I just never did
Your
that
parents
before.
said, listen, dude, let's go. Get off the couch, bro.
I was just a little nervous to start when I was younger, and I just always thought volleyball was interesting. It looked really fun.
Yeah.
I knew a lot of people on the team. I just wanted to do it, so I bit the bullet and just tried
Went
out.
for it.
It was-
how have your skills been developing?
They've developed.
Good.
I think they've gotten better since last year, but
That's
we'll see.
awesome. No, it's
Yeah.
awesome you did, and awesome you went for it. Jack, how about you? Talk about this team and your role here.
We really have a great team camaraderie. We don't have any issues with anybody. We just really like to build, keep everybody together. Like Carter said, we go to Tully's a lot together.
Nothing like eating.
Exactly. The team eats.
No question. Coach, how do you compare this team, ability-wise and potential to some in the past?
That's a tough one, and that's a very good question. you don't.
That's right.
You don't like to compare. I think one of the things that sets this team apart is the fact that there's no superstars.
Yep.
Which we've gone through the Connor Millises, the Trevor Cavanises, the Luke Barnells, who was at our match last night. It was great to see him. The Josh Bigford's Player of the Year was the Freshman of the Year at St. John Fisher last year.
Awesome.
And we've been through the all CNY players and the Player of the Year players, and I'm just wondering if, because everyone's got to pitch in for the wins, I'm just wondering if this could be the year that Section 3 punches the first ticket ever, not only to the state championship match, but to win a state championship. So I would be very interested to see, with a little bit different dynamic, with 6 guys plus the libero playing as one, as compared to just leaning on one player, which is the Player of the Year that we've had the last 4 or 5 years. Who knows? It could be the year, and we'll hopefully give it a shot.
Dan, how valuable get some early season tournament titles like the one you had early in September and went to Buffalo area?
Yeah, that was a good title to get. Good to get back in the swing of things, get back with the team, go win that Buffalo title again like we usually do. Just sort of puts us in the right position, the right mindset of where we like to be for the season.
Talk about Brandon, setting you up and getting the ball where you need it. Yeah, where you need it to go.
Oh, we love him. Been working on some plays with him. Starting to speed the ball up a little bit, and think it's working really well. So I like to see what else we've got in store, me and him, for the rest of the season. I look forward to it.
Nice. Carter, let's talk about up front. There's a deep rotation. Again, Coach saying not one single dominant spiker, but talk about the front line and how effective it is.
I think something that sets us apart from last year is we're much more effective at the net blocking. We're much better team blocking, and then that really puts a team down. When you get a block, every time someone else goes to hit against you, their mindset's changed. Really helps us get the edge over them because we're just big at the net, and that's really set us apart from last year.
Jack, in general, and a great point, in general, let's talk about volleyball, the benefit of having a longer regular season than other fall sports, 6 or so weeks, if that.
Yeah, it's a long season. We all have to sit in for it and get ready, but we always make it through, and we always end up coming out on top.
Coach, talk about state tournament before, the experiences, what you're telling the kids ultimately, and how to win it all.
What's nice about it in being there is that, with age comes wisdom, you would hope, and you kind of learn from your past mistakes. Is it something that you should talk about from day one? Is it something that you should talk about just when it gets there? And with that experience that we have had being there 4 times since it started at CNS in 2010, is that wisdom in regards to it's okay to talk about it. And actually, even at camp, when all the schools come to CNS for the CNY camp with over 100 campers with coaches across the country, we talk about bringing the first state championship to Section 3, and we're all in it together, except when the whistle blows. You want to beat that team across the court. Across the net, rather. But the thing with the state championship is we all talk about it, and it's a goal for every single program in our section. And I don't think that you should avoid it because it's out there. It's the elephant in the room, and I think it's important to address an elephant in the room when it's there, and we need to bring it back to Section 3 or bring it there for the first time ever.
All right, we got to take a break. We'll be right back. ESPN Radio will have a little bit more here for CNS Syracuse boys volleyball team.
This is the Aflac Insurance Inside High School Sports Show, brought to you by SummitCars.com.
All right, we are back on it, and Phil and I just chatting here, and the guys here during the break, so thanks for hanging out with us. And let's get right to it, fellas. So let's talk about, Coach, let's get back to you for one more second. So CNS, ultimately, when you look at the boys, what needs to improve? What do they need to do?
I think that day in and day out, we need to certainly, as far as the effort's been there every single day. This is a rarity that we have not had a bad practice. We need to continue that. And as it gets towards sectional time, we need to spend a little bit more time game planning for our next opponent as compared to just, all right, let's roll it out there. We've improved ourselves. Now it's time to adjust to our opponent. And we have a very difficult schedule coming up. I know that Phil talked about it earlier. Penfield Saturday. We got Living Word and Central Square this week, back-to-back before that, and then we end with Liverpool, FM, and Oswego. So quality opponents the rest of the way that we need to game plan for and make sure that we're executing versus their strengths day in and day out.
I love it. All right, let's do some shout-outs. Dan, shout-out. Who do you want to give a shout-out to, pal?
I want to give a shout-out to my libero, Trace, we were just talking about. Me and him always be working together on a court,
I like it. All right. Carter, shout-out. Who do you give a shout-out to, pal?
I'd like to give a shout-out to my parents for bringing me to all these sports and helping me
very nice
throughout the way.
Tim.
Through my high school.
I want to give a shout-out to my brothers for always being there. Help me out.
Very cool. Jack, how about you, pal?
I'd like to give a shout-out to my mom. She's always, my biggest role model and, my biggest supporter, so she means a lot to me.
All right, very nice. Coach, how about you, pal?
The best middle school recruiter for boys volleyball, my wife, who's in Manhattan right now with her modified cross-country team. So God bless her.
All right, Phil Blackwell, anything to add?
We have a full show next week as well. Lots of guests are going to be coming in, too, so looking forward to it.
All right. Give yourselves a big round of applause. CNS boys volleyball team making it all happen 13-0. Come on, get excited.
You're right.
We'll see you next week. 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 We'll see you next week.